Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, good morning. My name is Eric Harris. I'm here today representing ISRI, the Institute of Scrap Recycling Industries. ISRI is the world's largest trade association of recyclers, with 1,550 member companies and over 3,000 facilities throughout the United States. Our members process, broker, and industrially consume a number of recyclable commodities, including metal, ferrous and non-ferrous, paper, plastic, glass, textiles, tires and rubbers, and of course electronics. 20% of ISRI's membership now focuses on electronic recycling. In fact, it is our association's fastest growing segment. Our electronics recyclers provide comprehensive recycling operations, everything from logistics, including collection and transportation, to asset management, that is cleaning hard drives and testing and reselling for reuse, and of course processing electronic scrap to extract the various commodities such as steel and gold, titanium, silver, copper, and plastics and glass, for use as valuable materials in the feedstock and the manufacturing of new products. So what are some of the key challenges for electronics recyclers? The first, something very sensitive to our industry, is hosting this issue with the moniker of waste. In our opinion, scrap is not waste, and recycling is not disposal. It is very important to distinguish between scrap and waste, as well as recycling and disposal. Simply stated, scrap is the opposite of waste. Electronic scrap, like scrap paper and glass and plastic and metal and so forth, is not waste when responsibly recycled. Defining scrap electronics as waste undermines and overlooks the values that those electronics retained when properly recycled. One of the other biggest concerns we have in the industry is the cost to collect, transport, and responsibly recycle household electronic equipment, which remains the greatest challenge for our industry for two primary reasons. Household electronics, as Mr. Williams has already pointed out, some of the equipment has a negative cost to recycle. In other words, it costs more to recycle the equipment than the value you can extract from processing it. In addition, existing law, federal law, allows household electronic equipment to be sent to Subtitle D landfills. This creates a tension in the market because we lack the contractual connection with the consumer, and there's a behavioral pattern that suggests that this equipment should continue going to the landfill. Because of these reasons, until a sustainable market presents itself, ISRI does support a short-term financial mechanism from OEMs that would allow us to have help to collect, transport, and responsibly recycle those household electronic equipment goods that have a negative cost to recycle. For example, the cathode ray tubes in the televisions and monitors of today's market. There's three primary reasons why. This will enhance competition and not inflate the value of the recycling service that our members provide. The OEMs have greater access to their own customers. They can convince and educate their customers on the value of responsibly recycling the materials they sell. And lastly, provides an incentive for the OEMs to design their products with an eye towards recycling. A great example in today's market is manufacturers' continued use of mercury in their products. If you see the flat screen monitors and televisions, if you take the time to refurbish that system, pull the back panel off, what you'll see is a row of fluorescent bulbs that have mercury powder. They're difficult to replace, and they're difficult to remove for recycling. As a result, they're not cost effective in today's market. We need to encourage more collaborative programs to work with the OEMs to improve their design. On the commodity side, we need better markets for scrap plastics and scrap glass. CRT glass-to-glass manufacturing is becoming more and more obsolete throughout the world, and the few lead smelters that are remaining are actually refusing new contracts from recyclers to process their CRT glass. This is only complicated further by the 4 to 8 pounds of leaded glass that we see in the monitors and TVs entering in today's market. As a result, recyclers have fewer and fewer markets for the CRT glass. In our terms, this is a barn-burning issue. what do we do with the glass? For plastic, it remains difficult to separate and sort commingled plastic resins, streams to the quality that compete with virgin plastics. You have to imagine a truckload of commingled electronics, from toaster ovens to monitors to radios, shows up at our facilities, and now we have to process that material and process the plastic to a point where it can compete with virgin plastic. This is a challenge. All in all, what this does is creates hesitancy in the marketplace. Recyclers are hesitant to further invest in the technology needed for greater automation and optical sorting to address the CRT glass and the plastic. So how do we inject investor confidence? We would suggest targeted research and development to new in-use markets for mixed scrap plastic and glass, and potentially investment incentives for new recycling equipment, such as an accelerated depreciation model for new recycling equipment that is energy efficient and climate friendly and designed to increase recyclable yields. And lastly, how do we find a responsible recycler? There is a spectrum of players on the market, from the leaders of our association all the way down to what we call the sham recyclers out there. And we would caution the committee for the need for new laws and regulations, and would encourage enhancing policy that rewards responsible recycling. And on our side of the equation, we have created a recycling industry operating standard, or RIOS, that is an integrated comprehensive management system that incorporates environment, health and safety, and quality goals for the recycler in tomorrow's market.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.